Hi, good evening, everyone. Let's wait for a couple of minutes for people to join. In between, that's the list from last week. Just add on your tickers. We want to discuss in the chat, and I'll pick it up. Hi, good evening. Hi, Nehal. Good evening. Hi. Roku, I already have. Airbnb, I can include. Because Moderna is pretty much done, so I can include Airbnb. Hey, Joy, good evening. Square. Okay, Square. I am adding Square into the list. I want to get rid of Moderna. I can replace that with Airbnb. Facebook is already there. NCR, I have no idea on that ticker. So, and one more moment, let me see if people are, copy this. No, it's fine. Baba, we can talk about Baba and MA. Hi, Chirag. Hi, Nadeep. Hi, Judge. So let's 2 more minutes, maybe. Like this is Sunday, so people, hi Namit, so people are a little busy in their families. So I'll give like 2-3 more minutes, and we'll talk about the futures first. And today, like we have futures opened. Friday was a different day. Coin, sure. Coin. Oil and gas, you can pick Oxy all the time. Like they do not work on technicals like oil and gas sector as in general. They work on supply and demand. So right now the supply is not there and demand is still. And I was reading somewhere that somebody is trying to take a target of $200 per barrel on crude. I think saw somewhere, but I did not read it in detail. But I was bullish in crude since $40, about 80-85 is my target. Once it is done, I think we are pretty much good path. Okay. All right. So I think we have a fair number of people joining us. Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend with your family. So I'm here welcoming you to my planning session for tomorrow. Again, I would like to talk about a couple of things before we jump into this. Last week, we had quite a momentum on upward side, and last Friday on the downside, and then jump from there. So today, first and foremost thing, what I want to do is I wanted to do two views, a weekly candle view and a daily candle view. And we will evaluate each and every ticker based on that. Once we are done, we will write down our analysis in that sheet that yes, this is the path forward for this particular ticker. The second step which I want to recommend you is that based on the market bias, like if we are positive or if we are negative or short on the market, you need to pick the tickers which are in that direction. For example, PA was neutral on Friday and the target was 225. It achieved that. Netflix was neutral and target was 615. It did that. But other stocks like ES, it had a stop loss of 4316. And I kept on mentioning even on Twitter that once it breaches 4316, we will go up. And that's what happened. And we closed right on the money of 4347 line. And so the idea is looking at the market bias, pick the tickers which are strong in a bullish market and short the tickers which are weak in a negative market. Okay, that is a very important thing which we all need to understand and consider our trading bias, our trading execution based on the market sentiment at that particular moment. Market sentiment changes every single second. Sometimes there's a positive news, sometimes there's a negative news, or sometimes there's a political issue going on. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very pragmatic about our approach that yes, if market is considering in a positive momentum or it's showing a positive bias, we should focus on the stocks which are positive. And because when we were analyzing all this, at that time, there was no market sentiment. It was purely technical numbers which came out. Okay. Now with market bias, we should take leverage of those analysis which we did and take forward the number which come to us. Okay, so let's start that by ES. So on ES, let's start from weekly. And you need to understand this picture pretty clearly. Weekly is a big bearish engulfing. This was the last week candle, which was green. And this was like just the week which is completing, the big red candle. This big red candle closed right on 4347, which indicates a bearish pattern. Second thing, if you break it down into a daily candle, so weekly, it's showing a negative bias as of now. This bias will change once we cross 44444. You can make it a note on your end. On the weekly bias, we will become positive once we break out of 444. On the daily candle, you see we still made a lower high and a lower low. Okay, we did bounce above 4316, but we came here, and if I extend this to the right, we came here and we tested this line. Closed, like if you take SPX, it closed right on that point, but futures usually run like 15 minutes later, and then half an hour later to 5 p.m. close, they closed a little up. But I would mark this on the long-term trend line, the dark green line you see here. This closed right there. And now we are here. So a possible bounce toward 4378, which is a 12-day moving average, is possible if we break above 4366. Then we have possibility we might break 4378 and we might test 4385. Right now, 4385 is a very big barrier. People who got excited on Friday that yes, market sentiment has changed. No, it did not. We had a bounce and the bounce had a lower high and a lower low. So keep this in mind. We will turn bullish once we break out of 4444. And if you want to play a small trade or scalping trade for that, or if I had to take, I would take a bullish call only above 4385. Only above 4385. Otherwise, I will wait for it to break 4385 and I will be a seller on this rise. So my bias is sell it if it comes close to 4378 or 4385 area. I would be a seller. And let me add one more row here just to give you a bullish bias. So this is bearish engulfing on weekly. I'm still a seller. I'm just taking the buys, just mentioning the W right in front, WK, so that it's clear. Weekly bearish engulfing. I would sell near 4378 to, I would say 4366 to 4378. This will be my area to sell. 4385 is my stop loss. Target is 4347. And this time, if we break 4347, because the long-term trend line was broken once, twice, and we did bounce from there. This time we can come. And one more important thing, a test of support and a test of resistance. We got the test of support resistance here. The test of support missed by approximately, the low was 4260, about 14 points, 13 points roughly. So this test of support is still pending. A break below 4347 can be really aggressive and can come down and test this 4247 area. So right now I'm just limiting my targets because we are in this range to 4347 and 4316, and I am 60%. On the bullish side, I would like to buy above 4385. And if anyone has any questions regarding this, do let me know, because this is really important to understand and I can answer and address it right away. This has to be like pretty clear to all of you that we can turn bullish once we break 44444. So anybody has any questions on this, do let me know and I can address this on ES, because this will form our basis for rest of the stock pickers, because we need to operate in the direction where our market bias is. Okay, if no one has any question, I can move on to triple Q, and I will turn bullish once we test 4444 and break out. If we do that, we are looking at 4600. How? I'll just show you. Let me just. Yeah, it's right there. Above 444. Let me cancel right extension. Yeah. Yeah. 4407, 444. This is 38.2% Fibonacci. A break above this is really bullish and will come and test 4600. This way, we will bounce right from the long-term trend line, long-term support line, which is the dark green line, and we have taken the support in between. We tested the 12 EMA and 34 EMA, and we closed right on this. That's a positive. Right now, market is bearish to neutral. You need to monitor this on daily basis. I mean, like market, if you want to do an intraday trade, yes, 30-minute candle is a really good candle to observe, but I would assume at end of the day, you should always see where the market is heading, because now we are talking about a bias for the entire week. For intraday, 30-minute candle is good, but these numbers are still relevant in a 30-minute candle. We have any gap to fill? Yes, we have in gap around 4,000, which needs to be filled, and that gap will be filled probably if we break down on the long-term time frame, like Right now, we did breakdown. That's what I'm saying. If we break down from here, 4247, that 4,000 gap is pretty evidently to be filled. And this, because ES is futures, if you pick SPX, you will see that gap pretty clearly. That gap comes around 4,000. This is the gap. The chart is completely similar to ES. The only thing is ES runs throughout the day and SPX runs during the market hours, 9:30 to 4. And this gap is due to be filled. And history is, if you look at the historical patterns in the candle, gaps are always filled, no matter how long the duration. So this gap was created in April. We have seen about 6 months. We have managed this gap, and that gap has given a positive momentum to the market to move up. That now has filled. That has now been an opportunity because we broke down from this long-term trend line and we are right hovering here. So a break below on ES can be really nasty. Okay. Second important thing regarding the market is that both the bills, they are dependent on Senator Manchin. And Senator Manchin is always trying to push for taxes on the rich, that they should pay their fair share on the taxes. And with more and more, and he has given a like $2 trillion threshold onto his thumbs up on the bill. Now, if that doesn't happen, how would Biden generate the revenue or the money for the bill? It will come through taxes. It cannot go beyond next year because then they will not have money to have this rental bill. So more or less, we are expecting a tax on the long-term capital gains, on real estate gains, and on corporate tax. Most likely they are coming. This is the right time from October 4th to October 31st. I'm expecting that to come. Once that is there, anybody and everybody who has that kind of gain, which they are going to pay more taxes next year, there will be an outflow of all that money. And that will push, and we might have a possibility to fill this gap of 4,000. That's my thought process. Okay. So this has to be pretty clear to everybody. Now let's talk about triple Q. I'm not using NQ because NQ and triple Q are almost like the same thing. Even on NQ, you see people got very inclined. NQ was the last one to push throughout the day on Friday, but it still made a lower high and a lower low. It tried its best to close or test 361, but it did not. Above 361, there is a target of 366. This 361 range was a very good support in the past. You see here, this has been holding pretty beautifully. Now, on break of this, it has tried once, twice, thrice, fourth time, and failed to close above it. So we need to be very careful. If we break above this now, it might push to 366. If we stay below, then we might struggle to move up. Right now, the long-term pattern on triple Q is showing negative because the 12 EMA has converged downwards and the 34 EMA is leading the EMA crossover. So this shows a negative momentum in triple Q. And as I said, all the Fed impact will most likely to be beared by the tech companies, the growth companies. So be watchful. Above 361, you will have a target of 366. Even for this triple Q, I'm including two views so that we do not get confused. Sell below, which was, I would say, sell below 359. Sell below 359. Stop loss will be 361.44. And on Friday, it almost tested the target of 354. So again, the target is 354, which was the low, 354.30 and 351.65. 351.65 and 354.35. This is the target for if it goes below. Neutral, again, see, I'm not jumping from positive to short or short to positive. I'm giving a middle stage, which is called neutral. So here, buy above 361.44. Target will be 359. Stop loss will be, and target will be 362.80 and 366. Again, it's 40-60 ratio. Because as of now, my view is we are sell on rise. So I'm not encouraging positive trades much. But yes, if we break above this, we will have this positive setup, which is there. And I'm looking at your chart now. So how many points should I keep for stop loss for intraday? See, there's no point like stop losses. Stop losses are usually based on your levels. So supposedly I had the stop loss on Friday. Okay. So the stop loss was the 12 EMA. If you are short, a break below is your target towards the next Fibonacci. A break above is your stop loss. On the 30-minute candle, if there's a close above the 12 EMA, I turn that as a stop loss for a short position. If it break below the 30-minute candle, the red one, the red EMA, then it's a stop loss for the long position. That's what I use for my intraday. I do not take into consideration the spikes going up or down, but I take a considerable view of a candle closing on 30 minutes. If it closes below the green line, in case of short position right here, I will mark that as an open position. If it closes above, I will close my short position. And this inverses once we are on the positive side, when the green line is above and the red line is down. See, going long is an option. See, market changes every day. In fact, every single minute market changes. So you have to observe and wait for an opportunity and wait for to see if market breaches 444 and we have a positive bias and all the political scenario come in place. There is a possibility we should go up in the market, and we should take that into consideration. We should not be fighting the trend. We should not be fighting. We should be using the market bias to evaluate ideas and execute them. And that is the simplest way of trading. If we use our perception, if we use our trading mind that yes, this is going to happen, and we try to fight it when market is going against us, we are only going to lose. So do not make perceptions. Look at the data, trade what you see. Don't trade what you feel. Okay. Would it be wise if we swing put on QQQ? It will be wise if we break down below 359 early next week, and we manage that or we maintain that over next 2 days. Then yes, it does make sense. But not as of now. Let the market open tomorrow and see where it goes. Okay. So that's my bias on QQQ and yes. Now Apple. Look at the weekly view first. And that's why I'm just giving a weekly view. Weekly, we tested this long-term trend line. And you see this long-term trend line is there in the future as well. We got right pulled back. We had a bearish engulfing. Then we have 1, 2, 3 lower lows, lower highs. And then we tested this 139, which was my target on Friday. It tested, it bounced from there. But again, it did not close on 144, 45, 50. So on the weekly candle, This was the trend. We are making lower lows and lower highs. On the daily, we did the same thing. We bounced right off 139. We tested 139, we bounced. Now we are still in gap between the 12 EMA and the candle. So there's a possibility we might come and test 144. So if you really want to go long with QQQ, you can go long above 361. Then you might see a push in Apple to bring you 361.44. But if you want to be a seller, then wait for 144 and sell it. So right now my bias is because market is still making low, I will be a seller around 144.50. So I'm just giving mentioning lower highs, lower lows. I'm just mentioning this on weekly. So I'll be seller near, see, this was my target on Friday. It did test that. Sell near 144. Stop loss is 145. Target is again the same. Now, there are two ways to play it, this bias, because right now Apple is trading between 142.50. So there is still about $2 move towards the stop loss. You can try to go long, but your stop loss is still 139. So this switches. So in this case, I would prefer for it to break above 144. Then we can look out for 146. I'm not putting that 146 right now because I am in this mode. And that's what I'm saying. Even if we move 20 points, we might come to a point of 144.50. So that is really important to understand. AMD, I was, let me just go the weekly first. Weekly, it's roughly inside week. For one moment, it reached above 107, but if you ignore it, it's roughly inside week. So there is a very good possibility we might see a breakup or a breakdown on AMD. And on Friday, it closed right below the long-term trend line. And there was a hammer and this. It tested 185 and then bounced from there, closed right on the long-term trend line. There is still a gap between the candle and the trend line. Last time it tested, but again created the gap. So now I want it to test the gap up again. If it holds above 102.65. So I'm not bullish anymore, but I'm still neutral on it. But I will be a buyer above 102.66. This is my target. 104, this will be 104.35. I'll be a buyer here. So this is kind of neutral, but a bullish trade. Marking this in green. These are also greenish. Amazon did its best to close 3386, but it could not. The entire market went up, but Amazon could not break out of 3386. 3286, sorry. If you look at the weekly candles, it has made a lower low again, closed right on 3286. So 3286 is pretty significant area. It's kind of making head and shoulders. If you see on the weekly, if I assume this is my neckline, we went up, came down, went up, came down, went up. We might come down right to 312 area if we consider this as our baseline. So neckline. So I would say 3200 is still a potential target for Amazon if we break below 3286. Stop loss in this case has come down significantly. Stop loss will be 3392. Above 3392, if the stop loss has 3292, If the stop loss is breached, you may reverse the direction. Vinita, I will talk about Baba once I'm done with my list. I have additional items which I will talk one by one. So Amazon 3292 is a very important stop loss. A break of it. See, dark pool, you don't know. We'll talk about dark pool and everything later on. The stop loss is right here. 3323, sorry. 3323. Where is Amazon? 3323. A break above 323, this number, you may change the bias to neutral. And if you really want to go long, you can go long above 3323. BA is bullish to me. It had made higher highs, like this is kind of a morning star, because we came down on the weekly from top to bottom, and then we had a big red candle, a green candle, and then a big green candle. Now we are just having a dodgy candle on here, which closed above 225 on the weekly. And this on the weekly, if I draw some lines here, let me take a screenshot and copy this, paste it on Paint, because I don't want to add more trend lines. But what I want to show you here is this thing. If you connect the tops, okay, and if you connect the bottoms, this was a channel. Like roughly this is a channel. I just came down. So this we're going to break out. If it breaks out, and if I, let me just put it temporarily, if I do this, join this, and this is the channel. It came, it held this channel multiple times, and finally it's breaking out of the channel. If on Friday we close about 230, that would have been massive positive, but we did not. We managed to hold around 225 area. So this looks set to break out. Now, in case all the tech stocks goes down, there's a very good possibility that yes, Boeing might come up and push. One more thing, you see, it's roughly making a W. W is a bullish pattern. Second thing, you see the 12 EMA finally converging above the red EMA. That is showing a positive bias. So a break above 225, which we did, has set the potential targets that if we break above 228, 229, we can rocket to 239. That's a very, very good expectation on Boeing. It just needs to hold 225. So I'm actually bullish now. Buy above 229. Stop loss will be 225.42. And my target is 239 and 239. Both the targets are same because they are in good range. So I'm just keeping that 239. Google on Friday did move up, and again it made a morning star on daily, which actually is positive. So, but the important part is it tested the long-term trend line, and it held, and it did not break below this. It has held the long-term trend line. So right now I would be neutral or positive toward this, looking for a target of 2767 and 2777 on Google. So I am not, I'll be a buyer looking for 2767, 2777, and I'll be neutral by above or by near in this case I would say buy above this one will be better. 2743. Buy above 2743. Stop loss will be the close 2730. So this is again neutral, and because Google has already given up good. I'm about 70% with Morningstar. I just want to mention it here. Morningstar. DDOG, I'm pretty bullish. I have recommended DDOG for 3 days in a row now in my trade. It's making higher highs, higher lows, took the base from the long-term trend line, bounced right there, close toward the higher of the end. Now on the weekly candles, you see it's kind of close right above the supply zone, which is really bullish on it. So break above 150 has opened it for 159. So I'm pretty significantly bullish on DDOG with my stop loss around 143. 145. Stop loss is 143, 150, 67, and 159. Facebook. Facebook kind of struggling, like with 342.90. It came and closed right on the money, 342.90, made a lower low and lower high. Still in between the supply zone. So I will still be looking, like if it has to break up on the upper side, it needs to break out of 3. This is the weekly candle. If you look at the daily candle, it's right there. It's kind of making a morning star. So if market gives you that 444 area, it can come to 350, but above 345. If you really want to go long in this, which is still a possibility, buy above 342.90. I would say 340. What's the area? This is 345. 345.25. Buy above this. Keep the stop loss as this. Look for a target of 350 and 358. 350.37. 358. Because it's making a morning star again like Google. So it's neutral, but let me just post that. Then we have Airbnb. Airbnb, we have been long for quite a while. And from 157 to 168, almost came to 179 area. So now I think it's bullish still on Airbnb, and on weekly, it's making an inside week. So a break above 177 can be really significant. You can see 191. So I will be trading above 177 on Airbnb. It's inside week. Buy above 177. Stop loss will be, the stop losses will be 173. Target will be potentially 180 and 191. So inside days are pretty significant. Inside weeks are like super significant. So if you get an opportunity, you need to buy this around this area. Microsoft on Friday, like it tested the stop loss and then boom, it went up. So let's see where Microsoft stands. Microsoft on weekly still closed underneath, but closed on the long-term trend line, right on that point. And that's the importance, that yes, all these tickers which went down, they tested the long-term tickers, closed near it. So a break above this can actually, like this is bullish engulfing on the daily. but I'm still like not confident unless and until it breaks above 292. So if you really want to trade for 292, but I would be a buyer above 292, 293 area. I'll not be a buyer. I'll be a seller unless this goes below. So let me just see. Uh, it's still making bullish engulfing. Which is usually bullish in nature, but I would like to buy above 292. I do not want to jump 290 to 31. I do not want to jump if it breaks below. Below 292, it can be negative. And stop loss for me will be 290. And target will be 293 to 30. There's a gap, so we will target 297. 293 and 297. And one more thing, like in case you are not sure that you want to go long or go short, look for this thing. That's what I use, because I do not look into the market throughout the day. I just look at these numbers and I put alerts on my toss that once it crosses this area, that gives me alert and I can see. If it does not breach this area and trade around 280, 91, 290, I will not be a buyer in that case. If it trades below my stop loss, I can change my direction. So you need to understand, below 290, you can go short. Similarly here, if you see BA, 225, you can go short. You can go short below 2730, below 143. Or in case of short, you can go long above 3323. So stop loss is a point where you can switch directions. Keep this in mind. Netflix, I think was pretty good on Friday. I did one trade on Friday, and that was Netflix. And Nvidia was a little bit, but Netflix is really good. Close on strength, and 609.45 is the stop loss. Should test this long-term trend line, which should be around 620 now because it's on the higher end. Maybe 620, yes. So I'm just moving the stop losses from neutral to positive. Buy above 615. Stop loss is 609. Target is 620.57 and 635. So this is bullish. Shop respected 1339. It never went below on Friday and did bounce from it. So Monday, it almost tested the right number, 1339.25. So it did my target, which we started from 1400, 1500 all the way here. Now it did bounce from it. Let me just make a weekly candle. It perfectly bounced from the test of resistance to the test of support. So if you really have to go long here in this, I would mark this as neutral now. So you can actually go here and buy above this with a stop loss of 1339. But below 1339, it can go down. So 1350.76, and on the daily, let me just check. 1368. So we need to be buyer above 1368. And potential targets will be 1411 to 1457. Again, this can change the direction if we break below 1339. That's why I'm emphasizing on this fact multiple times. When the market is long, pick a stock which is showing positive. When market is weak, pick a stock which is showing negative. Snow did pretty all right on Friday. Kind of managed to hold on to this channel area. So the levels are still same. It's kind of bullish engulfing on Snow. So I would prefer the bias as positive because it was neutral, and the numbers are still the same. But the only thing is its conviction has increased to 70%. Roku had multiple, like it's coming to a range where it's like 1, 2, 3. It's a double inside day. A break above 319 can be really, really massive. On the weekly as well, it's tested its long-term 302 area, which we were discussing initially that when it was 450, whether it will come or not, it did. Almost tested. Look at the low 302.11, matching 302.87. It completed its job. If it breaks above here, this can be significant move towards 390 because now on the weekly candles it's getting converged, so it's a make or break area for Roku. So Roku can jump from here if it breaks up. Okay, so I'll be looking forward for a break about 319. 319 we can see 338, 345. 338, and it's double inside. I'm just marking it D inside there. And stop loss should be by above 390. Stop loss should be 37. And its percentage conviction is about 70%. Tesla almost touched 765 on Friday. It has positive numbers, but in my experience, like Tesla is making lower highs, lower lows, and inside like 1, 2, 3 double inside day, broke below, tested the support, closed right below this. So if Tesla manages to hold above 779, there's a possibility it can break out and test 845. But there's also a possibility with the positive news, it might open up and then do a sell-off. So 779 is your inflection number. If you see that, yes, it's open flat or it's open little down, look for 779 to break up. And depending on the market sentiment at that time, if it breaks up with strength, then you might see a good follow-up buying. Usually it does not do as we expect on the even days, but looking at the market and looking at the profit and earnings of this P by E, I would still say let's wait for initial minutes and see how it reacts to those numbers. A break below 779 can be negative. A break above 779 can be marked as positive. So I am neutral on Tesla. Looking at the market, I'm looking to buy above 779 with a very tight stop loss 700 and target of 800. It has rejected by 800 multiple times, but if it breaks above 800, then we have 800 to 845 area to run. So these are the list of tickers which I want to do or I want to analyze. Let me just save this. Now I'll be, yes, Tesla sales are pretty good, but if you have traded Tesla, I've traded Tesla for so many years, it doesn't run on, it usually sells on good numbers or even good year earnings as well. So that is not a substantial idea for it to go long. We need to wait and see how it reacts. So let me pick up rest of the items from here. Square. Let me go to Square first. Square is making a double inside day, 1, 2, 3, 4. Double inside day is really, really like a breakout or breakdown area. So a move above 246, or if you want to be a little tight, move above 243 can be marked as positive for a target of 249. A move below 236, you can see 225. Okay, that's for square. And it's an inside day, double inside day. So I cannot have a bias on it. It's a breakout or a breakdown pattern. So we need to see. But from 289, it's finally showing a doji here. And that's a dragonfly doji, which signifies that, yes, I have seen enough of this trend. And let me just change my trend. So a bullish bias is there. I did add snow. You did not see that. It's there. Number 14, snow is there. I am not including Moderna. Moderna, because it has done its target from 454 to 345. That's $100 move, which we did. I will come back to Moderna if there is any new setup in it. Snap, I can include. DNTX, I have no idea on this company, but let me see if I can evaluate that. So next one was Baba. Baba needs to break out only above, like it needs to close above 151 or break out above 151. You see, it come all the way. There's always a bounce, but it gets rejected. It makes an evening star, and then down again, back to back. So I want, if you are adding Baba, you need to be bullish only above 151.37. It needs to close above this 12 EMA. Otherwise, there's no point trading Baba. Even last time I said about Baba that yes, Baba needs to break about 151, 153. It was on Friday. It never did, and it got dumped. So I'm not touching Baba unless it creates 151 and hold it. Then we have MasterCard. MasterCard did good on Friday, made a bullish pattern and closed above this range. It's kind of making an inverted head and shoulders, and the neckline is there. If it holds neckline above 363, it can go to 378, and your stop loss should be 353. But it needs to break out above this trend line, the neckline. So it's making inverted head and shoulders in case of Moderna, which is usually a bullish move. Coin, see again, it last time we talked about coin, it was 224 area. It bounced from there inside day, tested the 12 EMA, but failed. I will not be buyer unless it breaks about 235. 235, it has to break and close. If it does that, it's fine. Otherwise, I'm not trading coin. There's no point trading coin. It needs to break above and hold above, practically close above 235.10. Then we have Oxy. Oxy is a crude ETF, and it is really, really good. You see on the long, it's making a W. It's about to break out. So if you really want to trade Oxy, you need to be a buyer. Let me just check on crude. If crude is doing good, crude is about flat. So if you see crude moving, you need to buy Oxy. Oxy is one company for oil, and the company is MRO. Buy these two companies. This is making a significant cup and handle and a W. So I will be a buyer above 14. There's no stopping. You see, inverted head and shoulders on a very long time frame. It could be really massive for crude, because I read somewhere that somebody is trying to bet on $200 price on a crude per barrel. So you can see it moving in that direction. So bullish on oil and gas. But I'm not picking Exxon or other thing. You can pick that. They are slow movers, but Oxy and this MRO, they are quick movers, and they have significant option volume as well. Path. I need to understand what is the rationale for going in path. Just because it has come down, I still don't see any positive momentum in this. It's just consolidating. It needs to break above 53. Like, I'll be buyer above 55 on path. There is no nothing in between 50. It needs to close over 55, which is its demand zone. If it does, then yes, it's getting consolidated, but it has consolidated in the past and then break down after the earnings. So I don't see any catalyst as of now in path. Snap again, like held 71.89 beautifully. See, 71.89. We talked about this, tack, tested this line. A break above 75.50 or a close above 75.50, you can see 78.48. Till the moment Snap is holding this gap, it is very bullish. Once it breaks below this 70 area, that can be massively bearish. Then it will try to fill the gap. So till the moment 71, 89, 70 area is there, it's pretty good. BNTX. I have no idea on this company, and it has broken down a gap, lower lows, lower highs, again lower low, lower high. Let me just make some patterns on this. It's weekly candle. It's on a long-term trend line failure. It failed on long-term trend line. It can come back to 191. Path, like it has, I'll come to path. Let me finish this. So this is not looking good. It needs to break below or break above this trend line, which is like high of Friday, which was 260. 260 needs to break up and then fill the gap. If it does that, it might move up to 3 or 4. But I have no, I would say, I don't get any positive setups here. This gap was there, this gap is still there. So a gap below, again, a gap is formed is a confirmation of the negative sentiment. So I will not be trading this on the long side. Coming back to path, let me do one thing. Let me share the Zoom link. I just forgot about that, and we can talk over there because it's easier to communicate on the Zoom rather than I. Let me post this in the chat and we can talk over there. You can all join, and once you're there, we can talk. We can talk about all the tickers over there. It's easy. Let me post this on. And let me just stop sharing on